Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here. Today we have a very cool deck to take a look at for the Xyz Festival. We are still in the middle of the Xyz Festival here. Actually, it's still the first night, the time that I'm recording this, because I was pretty eager to try out this deck that I'm about to show off. Now, this deck was very heavily inspired by an individual that goes by Birdman743, who very generously donated during one of my streams, and well, during both of my streams actually. He donated both times, so thank you very much for those. Again, Birdman. During the second stream, he donated and asked me to take a look at his Lyrilusc OTK deck, featuring a little-known spell card, or at least it was little known to me anyway, called Backup Writer. So the idea is that, well, let's go ahead and take a look at the deck list here. You can see it's my current Xyz Festival deck, the pure Lyrilusc OTK. So yeah, the main idea is to get an assembled Nightingale out with a whole bunch of materials, activate Backup Writer on her so that she gains 1500 attack. Assembled Nightingale, for those who don't know, gets 200 attack points for every Xyz material attached to it, and she can attack directly. And she can attack a number of times during the battle phase up to the number of Xyz materials on her. So, what does this mean? Well, this means it's not that difficult to OTK with her, to be honest. If we are using Assembled Nightingale plus Backup Writer, then I believe it's a minimum of 4 materials in order to have enough to do 8,000, right? 4 materials would put her at 800 attack via her own effect and give her 4 attacks. Plus the 1500 from Backup Writer would be 2300, which 2300 times 4 is 9200, which is enough to OTK our opponent. The cool thing is, too, which I didn't even really realize until I was actually playing some of these games that we're going to see later, is that you can OTK with Assembled Nightingale even without Backup Writer. If you use Bird Sanctuary to transfer another Lyrilusc Xyz monster with its materials over to Assembled Nightingale, you can get enough materials to just attack with game. Let's see, I'm trying to do the math here, so in my head. So if she had 6 materials, right, that'd be 1200 attack. 1200 times 6 would be 6,000, and then 200 times 6 would be 12. So that's actually just shy of OTKing. That would be 7,200 damage if I did the math correctly. But 7 materials is going to be more than enough to OTK. And, well, let's just say we might be seeing that here in a bit. So definitely stay tuned. There's going to be some live duels following the deck profile here, and then a couple of replays, and then we'll see 2 live games. So let's break down the deck list card by card. We've got 1 DD Crow, 2 Jester Confit, 3 Cobalt Sparrow, 2 Sapphire Swallow, 3 Turquoise Warbler, 3 Beryl Canary, 2 Celestine Wagtail, 3 Maxx, 3 Ash, Raigeki, Harpie's Feather Duster, Monster Reborn, 1-for-1, 3 Backup Writer. We have 3 Lightning Storm, 3 Lyrilusc Bird Call, 1 Lyrilusc Bird Strike, 1 Lyrilusc Bird Sanctuary, and 3 Infinite Impermanence. So before we go to the extra deck, let's go and just talk about some of the cards in the main deck. Obviously, we have a pretty standard bird up lineup with pretty much 3 of each bird, except for Swallow and Wagtail are only 2 copies of each because you don't really need a third of each. We're playing DD Crow, which is fairly standard. We're also playing Jester Confit, which is a little less than standard in most bird up builds. Jester Confit is a nice extender because we can special summon Jester Confit directly to the board at any time. There's no precondition required for it, and all of our Lyrilusc Xyz monsters only just take level 1 monsters. They don't have to necessarily be winged beast monsters or even Lyrilusc monsters, just any level 1 monster. So Jester Confit plus any bird lets you immediately go into a Recital Starling, which you can then detach to search if you have no other monsters in hand, a Beryl Canary, to, you know, set up a play from there. Jester Confit is also really useful for the immediate ability to special summon onto the board to add extra materials onto Assembled Nightingale before you Xyz summon into her, in order to make it easier to OTK. So that's another reason I went with Jester Confit. Again, it's just 1 card, no condition, just boom, special summon a level 1 monster on the field. Easy peasy. The spell lineup, again, is looking mostly standard, except, again, for a Backup Writer, which is, again, going to be one of our main OTK options. Also kind of diverging from normal bird up decks is including Raigeki, Harpies, and 3 Lightning Storm. I'm mainly doing that just so we can OTK a little bit more consistently here. Obviously the Harpies and the Lightning Storms are mostly good for back rows, but sometimes our opponent has Floodgate monsters out as well, which is why I included the Raigeki in addition. We've also got 1-for-1, obviously to make OTKing a little bit easier, to get better access to our Lyrilusc plays. As for the Lyrilusc spells, we're running 1 of each Bird Strike and Bird Sanctuary. The Bird Strike is, again, mostly just to make OTKing a little bit easier if we happen to run up against monster floodgates. It's like a searchable way to just completely negate all of the cards on our opponent's board. So it's a nice option to have. I haven't used it yet, but again, it's just nice to have. Bird Sanctuary, as I mentioned before, can be very useful for setting up a assembled Nightingale with a bunch of materials to potentially OTK our opponents there. And then obviously the Imperms and the Maxxes and the Ashes are hand traps, and sometimes we want to go second if we're trying to OTK, so also just good to have in general. Now moving on to the extra deck here, we've got 1 Slacker Magician, 1 number 54 Lionheart, 1 F0 Utopic Future, we've got 2 Recital Starling, 3 Assembled Nightingale, 1 Kikinagashi Fucho, I think I said that right, or mostly right, or at least not completely wrong. Utopic Draco Future, we've got Ensemblue Robin, we've got a Promenade Thrush, 2 Downward Magicians, and of course Zeus. However, I've not had to rely on Zeus even once to win with this deck so far. It's pretty cool in that regard. So let's talk about the extra deck a little bit here. We've got 3 Assembled Nightingale. You don't quite need 3. I just made a 3rd one just because, you know, why not? She's the main focus of the deck. I mean, it would even be ideal to have 3 Recital Starling. I just didn't want to spend the ultra rare craft points to craft a 3rd one, because I don't really plan on using a 3rd one outside of like this very specific deck here. But yeah, I figured, you know, why not 3 Assembled Nightingale? Yep, for the other Lyrilusc Exceeds, we are playing on Ensemblue Robin, because even though this is an OTK deck, and ideally we'd like to go, well, here's the thing, right? We can go second and try to OTK our opponent with Backup Rider or just a straight up Assembled Nightingale, but we also have good plays going first. We're still able to do standard bird up plays and make Utopic Draco Future plus Ensemblue Robin, which makes this a particularly powerful OTK deck because we're not even relying solely on our OTKs. This is just a solid deck in its own right. It's just we also have the option to just straight up win, do 8,000 plus damage on 1 turn. We're also using Promenade Thrush. This has come up in previous iterations that I've tested this build, where sometimes you want to make Promenade Thrush first, get rid of an opponent's back row that might be threatening a potential attack, and then, you know, you can Bird Sanctuary and attach Thrush and her materials onto Nightingale when you then go for game. So yep, Zeus is fairly standard, the F-Zeros are fairly standard. I'm playing 2 Downards here. You can see, I got really lucky when I crafted the second one and actually made a prismatic one, so that's kind of neat. We're playing 2 Downards here just in case, you know, we get stopped and we need something to stack on top of like a rank 1. We can go into main phase 2 and then just throw on a Downard Magician, which will have, you know, decent stats. As for the other Exceeds monsters, I just picked some generic and cheap rank 1 cards that seemed like they could be useful. Slacker Magician and the Fucho here both only take 2 level 1 monsters and have abilities that protect them from effects and battle. So if your opponent, you know, just stops you mid-combo and you've got a couple level 1 monsters out, you could potentially just use this to set up and protect yourself and try to OTK then on the next turn. Lionheart's a bit of a meme, right? It takes 3 level 1 monsters and we can... He's got the same effect as Recital Starling, where we can ram into our opponent's monsters and make them take the damage. However, Lionheart can't be destroyed by battle. That's his other kind of upside there, so it's possible, sure, to get a win with Lionheart, but he's more of a meme than anything else. Okay, so here is the deck. Now, before we get into some live duels, I want to show off a couple of replays I actually have saved. They're going to be fairly quick ones, but they kind of demonstrate pretty well that this deck can go playing first or second, and you really have strong options either way. So let's go ahead and take a look at, let's see, should be this game here. Yes, here we go. So you can see, like, I've got the setup for the OTK. I've got a 1-for-1. I've got the backup rider, most importantly, but I've also got a 1-for-1 and a Lyrilusc bird call. So our opponent's going to play the Zexal field. I'm immediately going to snap off the Maxx because I know this prevents, you know, responding to some amount of Xyz monsters. But more importantly, like, I figure if it stops my opponent from special summoning, great, that's fine. If they do a couple of summons and then they stop, that's fine. Which is going to end up being what they do here. They're going to summon a Utopia with an extra material in an attempt to negate my attacks. However, I've got the Lightning Storm, so I can just go ahead and OTK my opponent here by getting rid of the Utopia. We're going to go 1-for-1. I actually get Turquoise Warbler here, which was a mistake. I thought Warbler was going to summon the Cobalt Sparrow out of my graveyard, but then I remembered, oh right, Warbler only gets the summon effect when she's special summoned from hand, not from deck. So it's not going to end up mattering, though. Ultimately, we are going to go into a Recital Starling. Mostly just to get some extra materials is the only reason I'm going into the Starling. I'm going to get an extra Beryl Canary here, just in case I end up needing the Beryl Canary next turn, in case I get stopped here. Again, I'm just like thinking about potential backup plays for the next turn, but I'm pretty confident this OTK is about to go off here. So yep, here is the assembled Nightingale. And we even have a Wagtail to attach from grave. We're then going to Bird Sanctuary to transfer over Starling and her material onto assembled Nightingale. 6 materials is more than enough for an OTK with backup rider. It's going to boost her all the way up to 2,900 attack points with 6 attacks. So this is a pretty cut and dry example of how you OTK with this deck. Yeah, pretty easy. Again, just we're using our hand traps to disrupt our opponent, and then we're just OTKing them on our turn. So here, this replay is going to kind of be an example of a good turn 1 setup. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. You can see our opponent actually surrendered on turn 1 because we got such a powerful setup. You'll also see examples of both a good turn 1 setup as well as an OTK in the 2 live games that follow as well. So here I'm going to begin by special summoning Jester Confit, showing his usefulness in the deck, because otherwise I didn't have too many plays, but I can normal summon Wagtail along with the special summon Confit. That's going to let us overlay into Recital Starling. From there we can add the Cobalt Sparrow. Now I am going to Beryl Canary, specialing the Wagtail. I'm going to activate Wagtail's effect to grab Bird Call here. Now I can overlay into another Recital Starling from here, which is going to then enable our Utopic F0 play. But first I'm going to search with this Starling, of course. I'm going to end up getting the Turquoise Warbler because I'm going to activate Bird Call here in order to grab Swallow. And we can special summon the Warbler off of Bird Call's effect. Warbler can summon Sparrow. Sparrow can add another Wagtail. We're going to then detach here for a F0 and then go into Draco Future. Then we're going to go ahead and summon Swallow and then special Wagtail with Swallow's effect. And we're actually going to end up with a 6 material Ensemblue Robin, which will have 3,000 attack points as well as being able to bounce 6 special summoned monsters. As you can see, we're going to overlay all 4 of them, and we even still have an Imperm and a Beryl Canary to potentially set up the OTK next turn. Yep, and before I can even attach to Wagtail, our opponent's just going to go ahead and concede. So that just again shows that this deck can set up a powerful turn 1 and even still set up the OTK for the next turn. This deck is capable of quite a bit indeed. Very cool deck. Again, huge props to Birdman there for the not even just the inspiration, for pretty much the whole build. So yep, again, here is the list, and I'll let you look at it a little bit more before we are now going to move into a couple of live games with this deck. So I hope you guys enjoy those. Alright guys, we are going to try out our Lyrilusc OTK deck inspired by good old Birdman. Had a couple successful games with it, of which you've probably seen the replays of by now, so let's go ahead and do a live game. Our opponent's going to force us to go first. Not ideal, definitely not ideal, although as we saw from that one replay, you know, we still can produce a very powerful first turn, even though we are an OTK deck. Wow, we just got the whole suite of birds here as well as backup rider, huh? Okay, so that's actually a really good opening for us. We're going to immediately begin with Turquoise Warbler in defense mode. We're going to activate her ability to summon the Cobalt Sparrow, unless our opponent's going to have a response. If they max C, I'm just going to have to stop here, so... Yeah, the drawback of this deck is that we don't get to play Called By. Actually, we probably should be playing Called By now that I think about it. Yeah, I don't know. I could drop the Jester Confits for the Called Bys, but Jester Confit is also, like, a little more important than I gave it credit for in the initial build that I looked at from Birdman there. Alright, let's go ahead and put the Cobalt Sparrow down, activate her ability. Once again, our opponent's getting a prompt to respond, but chooses not to. We're just missing, yeah, the Wagtail, so we'll go ahead and add her. Okay, now we're going to overlay into Recital Starling. Let's activate her optional effect on herself. See if our opponent responds. No? Okay, let's activate Recital Starling's ability. I'm going to detach Sparrow, doesn't particularly matter here. And, I mean, I've already got Swallow into the Wagtail and then the Beryl Canary, so I guess let's just add DD Crow. Okay, activate Sapphire Swallow's effect. Yep, we'll summon the Wagtail in defense mode, as well as the Swallow in defense mode. Wagtail's effect will trigger. And I'm kind of actually tempted to get Bird Sanctuary a little bit here for an extra draw, but I'm actually going to grab Bird Call anyway. I already have the Beryl Canary. I might just end up saving the Bird Call for next turn, to be honest, if I need it for next turn. Okay, let's overlay into another Recital Starling. This one I think is going to add a Beryl Canary, again, even though we already have one. Although, you know what, we could... No, we've already activated all of our Bird's effects. There's not really anything we can get with Bird Call, you know what I mean? Okay, I'm going to activate Recital Starling. Doesn't really matter. I guess I'll detach the Wagtail here. Yeah, I'm going to add another Beryl Canary just to potentially set up for next turn if I need another summon. Alright, I'm going to go into F0, and then once I get into this Draco Fucho, I'll be much less scared of a potential hand trap from my opponent. Unless they drop the Nibiru here. But they've been getting the response since like turn 1, so... Or since the first summon, rather. So I don't think it's Nibiru. Okay, let's stack on the Draco Future. Alright. Now we'll activate Beryl Canary's effect. And we're going to target Sapphire Swallow so that we can get a lot of materials on this Ensemblue Robin. There is the Robin. It's bad Promenade Thrush's ability to shuffle spell and traps back in the deck isn't a quick effect. I don't know why it's not. You'd think it would be, but oh well. We're going to activate Swallow's effect. Attaching doesn't really matter as long as it's not Wagtail. We'll attach Warbler. Because we might want to summon the Sparrow back from the graveyard with the Beryl Canary next turn. We're going to go over here and attach the Wagtail. And we even have a DD Crow in our hand as like a little hand trap there. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and pass it to our opponent here. So we have a monster effect, negate 4 bounces, and we can banish something in the graveyard. It's Numerons. Yeah, I kind of figured it would be. Numeron Wall, nope, I'm going to negate that with Draco Future because I do not want my opponent to search their Numeron network. And remember, Draco Future is once per turn, so since they're doing this during our end phase, that's totally fine with me. Alright, let's let's see what they can do. I think I only get to bounce back one of the Numeron gates with Ensemblue Robin since they all get summoned at once. Ooh, our opponent's got a Kaiju. Okay. Good thing we had two different things that can stop. Optional effect to act. Oh no. No, I don't want to bounce this. I don't need to activate DD Crow either. Oh, they did have a Numeron network. Oh, that's not good. But it's also not game for us, I don't think. Because we can bounce one back. 1, 2, they get one with 4,000. We have two monsters for them to attack over. Yeah, okay, I'm not too concerned with this. And with this, we could like set up the OTK easy. Remember, the OTK we just need at least 4 with backup rider anyway. We just need 4 materials on our Nightingale. It is 4, right? I'm pretty sure. Yep, go on and summon your numeral gates, that's fine. And now we are going to activate Ensemblue Robin's effect. Let's detach Wagtail, even though I don't think it's going to matter. And I'm going to put back number 1. This does matter because C number 1 is the one they overlay to banish everything and then deal damage equal to the total attack points that they banish. So I do want to put back number 1. Yep, so that's going to completely hamper what our opponent's going to be able to do here. They're going to go 1, 2, and 4, which is, I mean, going to clear our board, which is a little annoying, but it's definitely not an OTK. Nope, we don't need to use DD Crow, that's fine. And we can activate our Robin's effect in order to add... Let's see... We could add... Because they're going to destroy Gamma Seal, so we can add Warbler back. And our opponent's going to concede. No, they didn't let us do the OTK. But, yeah, I think they figured out pretty quick that we were just going to win. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if they know that they knew we had the backup rider, but I'm a little disappointed there. I actually didn't get to show off the OTK, but I do get to show off, at least in this example, how the deck can still go first and set up a really solid board, and then you can just OTK on your next turn. So, yeah, that's a nice little game show there. Alright, let's do the next live game here with our good old Bird Up OTK deck. Ooh, we're gonna win the coin flip now. Do we actually want to go first or second? First would technically be right, but I'm gonna go second for the meme. And hope we open with backup riders so I can do a live OTK. Plus, again, there's also like the hedge bet of like, there's a decent chance I'm playing against Numerons, so I'll just opts to go second. Although they only have a 5-card extra deck. Could this be one of the loner decks, or is this one of those do damage to myself decks? Oh, it's a Zexal deck. Maybe this might be a loner deck. Ooh, I might get to show off an OTK here if I draw backup rider. Even if I don't, I've got a really good hand here. That's the thing, we're an OTK deck, but we also don't have to like rely on our OTK to win. We can just win the old-fashioned way, which is just out-advantaging our opponent. Let's activate Lightning Storm. Destroy the spells and traps. Okay, now we can special summon the Warbler in defense mode. Activate her effect. I wonder... Hang on a second. Okay, I'm gonna summon Wagtail. I'm just trying to think, like... Okay, activate her effect. Is there any way I can OTK... Let me do some math real quick. Okay, so... The Lyrilusc monster gains 200 per material, right? So 1,200... 6... That would be... 14 times 7... would be lethal. Wait, I might be able to OTK without, hang on a second. I might be able to OTK without backup rider here. Hang on a second. Let me make sure I can do this. Okay, I'm gonna go into Recital, Starling, right? Activate effect. Herself, sure. Now activate. Detach Wagtail to add Sparrow. Now, okay. This can only transfer 1, right? I need to get 7 materials. If I can get 7 materials on a assembled Nightingale, I think I can OTK my opponent. I think this will work. Activate Swallow's effect, right? Pick Sparrow. Okay, Sparrow F. Let's add Beryl Canary, right? Okay, wait, I think this will work. Oh, but, What if okay, attach Beryl Canary, Confit. I think this will work, but I think I have to do something a little bit weird. I think I have to attach the Wagtail to the Recital Starling. And I'm going to show you why, because I'm not going to have enough space otherwise. Alright, so now I can't use Beryl Canary's effect anymore, but I can still... Here, let me special summon the Confit, right? And then normal summon the Beryl Canary. And then now I'm going to overlay into Assembled Nightingale. And attack mode over here. Let's activate Bird Sanctuary. And we can even draw a card first, that's fine. Okay, now I'm going to activate the other effect to attach Recital Starling and her materials to Assembled Nightingale. So that's 7 with 1600 attack. Oh my god, that's lethal! That's lethal! Yo, this is insane! Oh my god. Just casually attacking directly for 1600 damage 7 times. Oh my god. So there you have it. There's an OTK without backup rider. Just goes to show what this deck can do. Oh my god, that's insane. Oh my god, that's nuts. Yeah, hope you enjoyed that duel. And from here, let's just go on over to the outro. Alright everybody, I hope you enjoyed those live duels along with the replays for this deck profile. Again, first time I'm kind of doing this format of like a mix of the two, so hope you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun playing with this deck in the Xyz Festival, OTKing our opponents with good old backup rider and Lyrilusc Assembled Nightingale, even sometimes without backup rider. Once again, I want to thank Birdman for inspiring this build. And also, again, for his very generous donations during the streams as well. I'm really glad you got a chance to share this deck with me. It's very, very cool, and I like it a lot. I really do. It ended up being a lot more fun than I anticipated it would be when we first built it on stream. But, yep, I'm just going to once again quickly go through the list here just to show you all the different cards, which we already went over in the profile itself, but... as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I super duper appreciate it. Look forward to more content here from the Xyz Festival and other duels in general. Without further ado, this is XLex signing out. Hope you have a fantastic day.